really matters? That might be the most important question you can ask. So let's talk about it. Welcome to What Really Matters podcast, Everyday Spirituality with Karen Wyatt. Thank you so much for joining me here for another one of these solo episodes where I talk a little bit about things that I'm learning right now or things I'm working my way through. Let's say that. Sometimes I'm talking about issues I have or struggles that I'm dealing with and how I'm coping with them and what I'm learning at the same time. So today I've chosen the topic of why we need more awe in our lives. Awe, A.W.E. And this topic is relevant to me right now because lately I've been feeling a little bit bored at times. A little bit caught up in the mundane ordinariness of life, I would say, and always having a feeling that I'm waiting for something good to happen. Now, there are tons of really good things going on in my life. It's just that I find some part of me is watching and waiting and looking for something a little bit bigger to happen. And what I realized as I was doing some reading this past week is that what I'm longing for is the experience of awe, A.W.E. I'll spell it out again just to make sure you understand what I'm talking about. And awe, the way it's defined is that awe is something vast that challenges our understanding of the world, something that we experience oftentimes with nature or art or music, something incredible, that makes our jaws drop, our eyes widen, gives us goosebumps. One of those amazing, uncommon experiences that almost transports us to another place. And what is special about this awe experience is that it causes us to see how small we are in relation to the vastness of the universe. It causes us to gain this new perspective. And I've called this the galaxy perspective at other times, but this perspective that me here on planet Earth, standing here wishing for something really cool to happen, that I'm a speck and the universe is incredible and amazing, and there are miraculous things happening all around me all the time. And momentarily I can open up the windows of my soul and the doors of my heart and my mind, and I can connect with all of that vastness. I can find myself a part of it, even though I'm just a tiny speck here on planet Earth. So this experience of awe, it's really self-transcendent. It takes us out of those mundane, ordinary concerns we have day to day and helps us feel connected to something that's bigger than ourselves. And it reminds us that life is about something far greater than just what we're doing here from day to day. And yet life is unfolding and taking place through the mundane in these ordinary experiences of our day to day. So I think what I realized or what I remembered from doing the reading I've been doing is that I can experience awe at any time. I have to open my eyes and my mind and my heart to the awe-inspiring universe that we live in. And the conditions for an awe experience are there around me all the time. And if I'm not experiencing it, it's because somehow I've closed off to it. So that's why I want to talk about not only why we need more awe in our lives, but also how we get it, because that's what I'm working on right now. And so it's very interesting to me, the Greater Good Science Center from Berkeley, they've done a lot of research and studies, scientific studies about the experience of awe. And they have found some real benefits for people from having these experiences of awe in the studies that they've done. And that, first of all, and this makes sense, experiencing awe improves your mood. And that's probably what I'm looking for. I want some awe. I want my mood to be uplifted a little bit. And this uplifting of the mood causes an increase in life satisfaction. That makes sense too. When we have these amazing experiences that open us up and make us feel connected, we definitely find life more satisfying and more appealing and more exciting in a way as well. So the second benefit, and this, they're a little bit hesitant to say that it's directly caused by an experience of awe, but they have found that people who are more likely to have awesome experiences have less inflammation in their physical bodies, and they don't know which comes first. Does having awe experience decrease inflammation, or are people with less inflammation in their bodies more likely to experience awe? Not sure, but there does seem to be a relationship between the two in studies. Next, they've shown that awe experiences improve critical thinking, which is really interesting. And I think partly because they appeal to the higher cortex, the cerebral cortex. They kind of open our cerebral cortex and activate it. And when we have this galaxy view of our lives, it takes us into a new realm in a sense where we're able to see things differently. And so critical thinking grows stronger in that state. And also materialism seems to become less when we are able to go into these awe-filled experiences in our lives. That makes sense to me too, because again, we recognize that having things and stuff and acquiring things and accumulating more money, that is not really what life is about. It's not really what makes us feel connected and alive. But these awe-inspiring experiences are. And so I really like this idea that sometimes we resort to longing for more material things because it seems like a way to become happier or to have more pleasure in our lives. But it honestly ends up being a dead end. And sometimes it creates the opposite effect because the more material things we own, the more things we have to take care of, the more we spend our time day to day looking after those material possessions and have less time available to be experiencing awe. The next benefit of experiencing awe is that we become more humble, and that makes sense. As I said, it's self-transcendent. We're able to rise above the concerns of our small selves to see our connection to this vast universe, and it helps us know what our place is and to not get caught up in thinking that whatever issues I'm dealing with today are the most important things in the universe, to keep things in its place better, to prioritize things in our lives, to have a more balanced perspective of what's happening in life. So greater humility from experiencing awe. The sixth benefit is that these awe-filled experiences expand our perception of time. There's actually timelessness occurring when we're in one of these states. We're not really aware of time passing, and it's an incredible place to be. And who doesn't want to have a perception of having more time in life? And it occurred to me that's one of the things that I've been longing for, because I've gotten myself at times overcommitted, over busy with too much to do, and feeling like I don't have enough time for relaxation and time to just be. And I am longing for these awe experiences that will help me feel the expansion of time and remind me that time really doesn't exist. Time is a construct here on planet Earth. When you're in the spiritual realm, there isn't a worry about time, but that I can expand my perception of time. I can make space for the relaxation I want and to just be if I open myself to that kind of experience. The seventh benefit that they've shown in studies, and I love this, that they've looked at it, is that people who experience awe have an increase in generosity and also in their willingness to cooperate with other people. Things that we desperately need in our world right now. We need more of that, more generosity, more cooperation. And so what an amazing benefit that comes from having one of these awe-filled experiences. And then the last one, the eighth one, which I think is also obvious, it increases our connection to other people. And once again, I think that is because of the self-transcendence. We rise beyond our petty, small, day-to-day concerns. We're able to see that we're connected to everything, including all of the people around us. And that's what having this encounter with the vastness of the universe can do for us. So these are amazing benefits. An improved mood, less inflammation, better critical thinking skills, less materialism, more humility, an expanded perception of time, more generosity and cooperation, and an increased connection to others. All things that we need in general in our society and that we need to cultivate within ourselves. And certainly, as I was saying, that's what I've been looking for and wanting lately. And how silly that I forgot. I could have all of those things in an instant by just pausing for a moment and opening myself to the experience of awe. And so one of the things I was interested in the reading that I've done in the last couple of days is that most of us experience awe when we're in nature. Like if you look up at the stars at night, if you go outside a city where the lights are dim and you're able to see the sky completely filled with stars and see the Milky Way, it can almost knock you over. It's such a powerful experience. If you've been in a forest, just walking through the trees, listening to leaves rustling in the breeze, listening to birds singing, maybe you hear water running, you see beautiful flowers and shrubs and bushes. These sensory experiences in nature are so amazing and so powerful that they can transport you instantly into this galaxy view, this higher view of what life is about. And you can get there without even really trying. You just show up in one of those spaces. The irony for me is that right now I'm staying near the ocean. I can look out my front window and see the ocean. And what is more awe-inspiring than the Pacific Ocean? How vast and enormous it is. And I'll never forget one day when I was walking down by the ocean, a man was standing in the water, on the edge of the water, and he was laughing and laughing, and he came up to me and he said, "This water is so beautiful." And he said, "This is the Pacific Ocean." And he said, "I'm from Thailand. Thailand has the Pacific Ocean." And he said, "I stand in the water here and I'm standing in the water in Thailand." And that touched me so much. It was so sweet that he was having this amazing awe experience of realizing, like, this is the same water that washes the beach where I'm from, and I'm experiencing it here. And the delight on his face was just amazing to see that. So I'm realizing, oh my gosh, I live by the ocean. I could go there any day that I'm needing some awe in my life. I could go there and take it in. And yet it is so easy to forget to do that. It's so easy to get caught up in the mundane, busyness of day-to-day life that I forget to take time. I forget to actually just sit down and just be and just experience what is around me. And I don't know if that happens for you, but it definitely does for me. And that's been my problem lately. I've been letting myself get too busy. I've been packing my days full of things I have to do with an endless list in front of me. I'm trying to cross things off of and forgetting to just breathe, just be, just sit, just experience the awe because it's already there around us. So I've had a great wake-up call the last few days reading about how to get more awe in my life and recognizing that that's what I need. That's all I need. I just need a few minutes every day to be in that space where I'm feeling connected with nature around me. But I was interested in another study when they surveyed people who have had awe-filled experiences, and they found out that actually the most common source of awe is other people. So when they asked participants in this study to tell them when they felt the most in awe, many of them described seeing other people do amazing things. And they described this as moral beauty, is what they called it. People who have moral beauty, who have exceptional virtue, character, and ability. And so the stories ranged from someone overcoming a terrible injury or illness, or devastating conditions in their childhood, someone achieving something against the odds, someone maybe making a heroic rescue and saving another person's life. There were amazing stories people told of witnessing other human beings who had moral beauty that inspired them. And as I read this study, it reminded me of a time when I felt awe in the presence of another person. And this was so powerful for me. It was when I was working as a hospice physician and went to a home to make rounds on a patient. And the patient was a man with end-stage Alzheimer's, and he had been cared for at home by his wife throughout his entire disease process. And he was now bedridden, unable to speak or really move or do anything for himself. And his wife, alone, all by herself, had been taking care of him for all of these years as his Alzheimer's had progressed. Before I got there for that visit, I had imagined what it might be like to be a caregiver for an Alzheimer's patient. And I have met other caregivers taking on that task, and it is formidable to provide 24/7 care for someone that you love, but who has lost all of their faculties and who can no longer communicate, no longer share in a relationship the way they have in the past. And I have seen so many caregivers become completely burned out in a situation like that, especially when, like her, they don't have any outside help coming in. You know, no hired caregivers, no other family members or neighbors or friends who come in to provide extra help. So I was expecting that the caregiver for our patient would be in rough shape. Honestly, I thought she would be exhausted and run down and perhaps barely hanging on. And my intent was, she needs my support. Of course, I'll do my examination of the patient and assess how things are going for him, but she's the person who needs my support, and I need to be making sure that she's okay and finding out if there's something else we should be doing for her to help her. So I had a certain expectation of how she might be, what condition she might be in, and what she might tell me when I got to the home. But I walked in, and the wife of our patient, who was his caregiver, was just a stunningly beautiful, radiant woman who greeted me with so much love, just her bright, shining, joy-filled face. She gave me a hug. She took me into the living room where her husband was in a hospital bed. She told me about the care she'd been providing, how he was doing, and I watched as she stroked his face. She tucked the covers around him. She was so gentle and so caring toward him. And just also, as I said, so filled with this loving energy. She didn't appear to be tired at all. She never complained about being exhausted or overwhelmed. And here, I thought, I'm going here to support this woman, and she's going to be in rough shape. She's going to need my encouragement and my emotional support. And here I am feeling like, wow, I'm the one who's kind of ragged and burned out right now. And this woman is this shining example of, I guess we can call it moral beauty. She's doing this incredible task of caring for her husband, and she's just filled with nothing but love. And so when it was our turn to talk, we sat down over a cup of coffee at her kitchen table, and I asked her how she was doing. And I actually asked her, how are you doing this? How is it that you are giving him such amazing care, and yet you seem rested and happy and just filled with joy? And she said to me, I am doing the highest good I could ever do with my time and with my life. And she said, caring for him is the greatest possible way I have of showing how much I love him. And it is my deepest honor to do that in every moment. And for me, that was jaw-dropping. That gave me goosebumps to hear her say that, and to see this incredible love, and how empowering it can be for a person capable of that love to do this amazing work that the vast majority of us could not withstand, could not bear up under. And here she was, in so many ways, kind of sailing through it, because love was transporting her. Love was sustaining her and helping her provide the level of care that she was giving. So to meet her, to have a moment to talk to her, to hear her describe her love and how it sustained her, was just one of those experiences that told me that it's possible. It's possible to do incredible things that we cannot even imagine, but we have to be so clear. We have to be so free of other agendas and wounds and shadow issues that we can just channel and transmit this pure love. And she was such a beautiful example of it. I've never met anyone like her before. And in my mind, she has become a role model for me in a way of being at a place where you're so free of resentment, so free of old pain, old issues, having healed all of it, having forgiven all of that, to be completely free to just carry love and act from love. So I've never forgotten her. I've never forgotten the story. And I aspire in my life, when I say we're here for love, she's one of the people that taught me that. And I aspire with all my heart to be at that level, to be capable of that kind of loving action and loving care. But I need a lot more work before I can be at that place. That's something I have to work on all the time. And so this woman inspires me with awe and reminds me that I can achieve greater things, greater love. I can keep working on myself and become a better and better vessel for the love that I would like to convey through my life. She reminds me that it's possible. And just thinking of this story and just telling it right now takes me right back to that moment of awe that I felt as I listened to her talk. And I'm experiencing the awe all over again. And all it took was remembering the story and reliving it in a sense. And that's another thing that I read about in the studies that came across my computer screen over the last few days, that we can recreate these awe-filled experiences simply by meditating on them, simply by closing our eyes and just remembering what happened. Maybe we climbed up to the top of a plateau and there was a spectacular view in front of us. Or maybe, as I described before, we look up at the stars at night and see the Milky Way. The incredible, amazing infinity of this galaxy that we're looking up at, and to know it's one of billions of galaxies in the universe. How incredibly awe-inspiring is that, just to contemplate that? So just by closing our eyes in any moment, we can take ourselves back to that place. But I believe we can also find moments of awe wherever we are during the day. And I think ultimately that is the place we need to reside, where we are not seeking awe and longing for moments of awe or wishing it would happen to us, that we are inside of the awe in a sense. We exist within awe. And that we are simply in this state where we're perceiving all the time that we're connected to something greater than ourselves, that there is this powerful, incredible love in the universe that can flow through ordinary human beings and help them do amazing things. And that we are surrounded by beauty in every moment, in the nature around us, even in the man-made structures around us, and art and music. Beauty is everywhere. If we can open our eyes and look for it, we simply have to pause long enough and rest for a moment and let ourselves just be in order to take it in. And so as we close, I wanted to end with a little practice that I created several years ago that I called the Daily Awe Practice, as maybe something we could remember as a way to stay in this place of awe. So Daily Awe, A.W.E. The A stands for be awake, meaning we simply have to wake up in our lives to what's beyond us, what's beyond our own small world, and stay awake to everything else that's happening with our higher selves and our higher consciousness. The W stands for be willing. And we have to be willing to change, willing to have new experiences, willing to have our eyes open. If we are holding too tightly to the past and clinging to old stories and old emotions, we are not open to new experiences. We're not allowing the awe to hold us or embrace us or to come into our lives. So we have to be willing. We have to let go of the things that we're too attached to and be open and willing. And then the E stands for be engaged. And that means that we are fully present from moment to moment in our lives, that we're not getting caught up in social media or reading emails or thinking about the past too much or worrying about the future too much. We are here right now in this moment experiencing what life is bringing to us. So for daily awe, be awake, be willing, be engaged. Those are the three components. And I wrote some affirmations to go with it. I am awake to all possibilities today. I am willing to see the good in everything that happens. I am fully engaged with life in every moment. So those are the 3 things I'm working on as I work to bring more awe into my daily life and ultimately to live within the state of awe as much as I possibly can. And I hope that this resonates with you too, or might make a difference for you as well. I wish you as much awe as you can possibly hold in your life today and every day. So remember that we're here for love. So face your fear, be ready for whatever life brings you next, and love each and every moment of this precious existence. Bye-bye.